An important one: how to lose 15 pounds in the shortest and fastest amount of time. Ideally in 3 months is what you kind of want to aim for. And in this video, I'm going to kind of bash and shit talk almost intermediate fasting, because when this hack first came out, I thought this was the way. This is going to solve the problems to everyone, especially me, who's struggling to lose weight. Now, at the time when I first heard of this tool or hack, I was around 19% body fat, 200 pounds. And all the fitness influencers, all the fitness gurus, everybody was praising intermediate fasting as the golden standard of losing fat. And me kind of entering the fitness industry, not really knowing anything about, calorie deficits, strength training, portion control, I was sold. I thought to myself, this is what I've been missing. This is what I needed in my life. This is what's going to help me lose the weight, get the six-pack, feel great, and love my reflection. So what did I do? For the next 4 months, I dedicated myself to intermediate fasting. I told myself, yes, this is going to make me look the way I want to look. This is going to help me shed off 30, 40, 50 pounds. Maybe not 50, because I was around 200 pounds. I did not want to get to 150. But yeah, 30, 35 pounds is definitely my sweet spot that I wanted to shed off. So I tried this for 4 months, and I was extremely, extremely disappointed and pissed from the results that I got, which was losing around 5 pounds. In 4 months, I lost 5 pounds. And to put that into perspective, in 4 months, that's around 4, 8, 12, 16 weeks. 16 divided by 5 is around divided by 4, 16 weeks divided by whatever. It's around roughly you're losing 0.3 pounds per week, which is not ideal, not where you want to be at. You want to be around that 1.5, 2 pounds per week, especially for the guys that have a lot more weight to lose. Like I did. I was around 19% body fat. So I would have been fine, perfectly fine, losing 1 to 1.5 pounds of fat per week, pure fat. Like that fat that, like, when you pinch your skin, you can, play with your fat cells and balls. That's the most annoying feeling in the world. So yeah, I knew that I did either something wrong, or this whole intermediate fasting thing was a hoax. It was a joke. It wasn't something real. Fast forward to March. Yeah, this March, which is, let's say, call it around 4.5 years after my first time trying intermediate fasting, learning a lot more, studying, trial and error. I was like, okay, now with everything that I know, I'm going to do it right this time. I'm going to intermediate fast, but I'm not going to treat it as this hack, because it's not a hack. It's just a tool. It's just a regular tool, just like a knife is a tool. When you eat your dinner and you use a knife, it makes it easier to cut your meat, for example. But if you use the wrong side of the knife, you're going to struggle to cut that meat. You're not going to get the effects and the benefits of that knife. Same thing with intermediate fasting. If you're just using intermediate fasting just to use it without the foundation, being a calorie deficit, because you could be you can intermediate fast, but the moment that you stop fasting and your eating window begins, you can easily, then this is why I basically lost almost no weight. Eat at your maintenance calories, or even above maintenance, and still gain weight or gain fat while intermediate fasting. The only thing that intermediate fasting does is it pushes your window a little bit further. So if you're normally eating at, let's say, 8 a.m., if you start eating at 1 p.m., this theoretically cuts and puts you into a shorter feeding time frame. But if you're still eating garbage foods, then good luck. You're not going to be in a calorie deficit. It just makes it easier to be in a calorie deficit. So, number one, you got to be in a calorie deficit. Number two, how can you be in a calorie deficit without, tracking every single minor detailed food that you're eating? And the hack is simply by eating home-cooked meals. It sounds cliche and it sounds like too easy to be true, but it really is. The reason why so many people can overeat on their calories and have such a hard time to lose weight and see the results that they want, they've been putting in years and weeks and months of training and of dieting, but they still can't seem to lose the weight, or they still can't seem to look the way that they want to, is because their diet is heavily it's heavily consistent of processed foods. What are processed foods? Your cheat meals, your crackers, just, what processed, like, I'm not going to go through a list. You know what a processed food is. Whole foods and processed foods. If you pair intermediate fasting with, call it 80% eating home-cooked meals, you, my friend, will legitimately, I promise and guarantee you with my life, absolutely melt the fat off your body. Obviously, if you're also training, and getting in some cardio, some movement, like, don't just eat whole foods, intermediate fast, and then sit on the couch all day. Like, be active still. You don't have to be freaking Olympic athletic active, but, just don't sit on the couch is all I'm saying all day. That will just, torch fat off your body. Why? Because it's almost impossible to overeat, especially in a shorter time period window, when your diet is not consistent of processed foods. Because what processed foods allow you to do is they allow you to eat more food without you unconsciously realizing. Right? If you eat a whole bowl of rice and chicken, for example, I know it's not what you want to hear, but it's the most basic example, and I want to keep things very clear. If you eat an entire bowl of rice and chicken, that's going to be, call it 500 calories. But if you eat an entire bowl of cereal and milk, for example, you can easily push 900, 1,000 calories in just that one bowl. Why? Because processed foods are typically more calorie dense. And a bowl of rice and chicken, again, just a simple example, is going to keep you full for a longer period of time, so you're less likely going to reach for something else to eat. Whereas a bowl of cereal, in the same example, you're going to get hungry again in an hour or two. Why? Because processed food typically, once again, not all the time, but typically spikes your blood sugar faster, and the faster your blood sugar is spiked, the faster it comes crashing down. So, after learning all this, I did this the second time in March, just this year. And this time, I took it to the end of May, so 3 months in total. In 3 months, guess how much I lost? 15 pounds. And before March, I was, slowly losing weight, but not as hard as I wanted to. So I was around, I would say, 16% body fat. So the lower you get in body fat percentages, the longer it takes or the harder it is to lose weight, right? The first pound, let's say you're 200 pounds, is so easy to lose. Whereas, let's say you're like at 20% body fat. But for example, at like 10% body fat, 1 pound is extremely difficult to lose because you're playing with very fine digits and very fine body fat composition. And yeah, everything I kind of just outlined in the video, in 3 months, I was able to lose 15 pounds. And basically because I followed what I just told you. And it doesn't have to be so complicated. You don't have to be so strict. But like I said, not 100% of the time eating whole foods or eating home-cooked meals. But 80% of the time. That's all it really takes. And call 1 week. 1 week, let's go on my calculator right here. Let's say you're an average person who eats 3 meals a day, right? 3 times 7 for 1 week. That's 21 meals. 21 meals throughout the week. This is how you really break down and make it so much more simpler to hit your nutrition goals. So right here you see you have 21 meals in 1 week. So how do you find how many of those 21 meals is 80% clean meals, meaning home cooked whole food meals? So you're going to do 80% times 21. 16.8. So we're going to round it to 17. 17 of your meals out of the entire week for this to work has to be home cooked clean meals, whole foods. And the rest, the 4 meals that you have left over, because obviously 21 minus 17 is 4, let those be your cheat meals. Let those be your restaurant meals. Let those be your client meetings. Let those be your family gatherings. Let those be your date nights, right? You don't have to suffer just because you want to lose fat. Like, no, I didn't suffer. Do what makes you happy, but also have that discipline and self-control because your goals and your desires are your compass to your higher self. I love you guys. If you like this video, make sure you like it. Leave your comments on another video you'd like to see. Subscribe if you're new. And then leave you like I always do. Create more than you consume. Serve others. Love everyone. See you in the next one. Peace.